What's going on, guys? So in front of me, you were looking at a super cool and innovative product from the folks over at Gen Y. This is the Goosepuck Gen 2. Now, some folks are going to say, well, the Gen 1 hadn't even been out that long. It's been out for a couple of years. Why is there already a Gen 2? Well, that's a really good question. We're going to answer that, and it actually speaks to one of the reasons why Gen Y is one of my favorite companies. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay, so once they released this Gen 2, I was like, hey man, you guys got to send me one of these so I can show everyone, because it essentially addresses everything we talked about in terms of what a Gen 2 should look like from the Gen 1. Now, there's nothing to say that Gen 1 is a bad product. The first one, which I have sitting right over here, is a fantastic product. The Goosepuck is essentially designed to offset your goose ball back a little further, because in most heavy-duty pickup trucks with a gooseball connection, it's actually positioned slightly forward of the rear axle. And to give you a little bit more room to drop your tailgate, as well as a little bit more flexibility and clearance when you're turning, you have these offset gooseballs. And in many cases, you literally just have a stem coming up with an offset gooseball, and it has to lock in with a pin to your aftermarket gooseneck connection. But the folks over at Gen Y and the folks at CURT, to be honest, have created this really cool kind of design that brings it back. Now, what Gen Y did that kind of accelerates them above anybody else is they've been able to do this while still positioning the ball very low in the bed. So you don't have this structure that sticks out really, really high. Plus, the way they've transferred energy, the way that they've actually allowed this to work so it maintains integrity and strength is absolutely phenomenal. You see some impeccable welds. I'm sure all of that is laser welded because it looks absolutely fantastic. You see this inch-thick piece of steel right here, and it locks in place. And if I have to say a company that innovates quicker than any other company I've worked with, it's Gen Y. I mean, the minute they see an improvement or an area for improvement, they're on it. And that can frustrate some people because sometimes it means you purchased a product that's now not obsolete, but now there's a newer version of with some improved features. But one thing that's nice, though, is they always try to make it identifiable if there's a reason why you should truly upgrade, or if it's just a small, subtle change. For instance, their snap latch, they now have I think it's a urethane handle that pulls back instead of the metal one that was normally on there, because it actually provides better leverage. They don't need to use a set screw or something that they had in the first one. I saw a little advertisement on it, and they give you the handle if you just go on their website and put a coupon code in. So you can upgrade to the new handle without needing to purchase the new handle, if that makes sense. But what I love about this is that they addressed a lot of the things that I questioned. Now, for instance, the way the first generation's designed is that these right here would be your back two puck holes. That would be your gooseneck connection, and this part would kind of cantilever out over the back of your truck. So not the back of your truck, but the back of your axle. Essentially, it would move the position back like 5 or 6 inches. And I didn't really like that. I figured it made sense to have the weight capable of resting on the 2 rearmost Goosepucks. So basically, instead of having those right there, bring them forward right here. And that's what they've done now. So this part comes off the back. So this would be your gooseneck connection in the center. It comes off the back, and then you have these wings that come out, and now the weight can cradle within your gooseneck connection and the 2 puck connections for your 5th wheel hitch. Plus, they've now integrated chain connections on here as well. So this is really cool, and the design is awesome because you just unpin it, turn it sideways to open it up, drop it in, and you're good to go. And we'll get this installed in the truck as soon as I finish the super simple task of assembling it, which is essentially 3 bolts here, 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there, and you're done. So let's get done with that, then we'll show how it functions in the truck. Now, what you're looking at here is actually the plate for a Ram. So you can see it's significantly wider than the plate for a Ford. So they sent me both. So that is really kind of cool to see the difference between the two in the spacing. This would space it out probably another 4 inches on each side. The footprint for the Ram is significantly larger overall than it is for either the GM or the Ford trucks. But this is specifically for Ford. I left these side wings loose because I want to position it in the truck first, drop it in place, make sure everything fits, make sure that everything's in the right position. I'm going to lock it, and then I'm going to tighten these up. Okay, so we have the bed of the truck exposed. What's kind of cool here is that you can actually see the cutout for the original Goosepuck that I had installed on here, and this one's going to install kind of in the opposite fashion, using the center and then these two versus the center and those two. And yeah, this is going to be a little bit different. But again, I love how it's no longer extending the ball out to here, which is providing that cantilever effect towards the back. It's actually cradling it in the front too. And you also have chain tie downs. Now, the folks over at Gen Y had informed me that they've never actually heard of a failure with the Gen 1, and it hasn't caused any problems with the truck it's been installed in. So I don't think this is a need to upgrade. I think this is a like to upgrade, or if you haven't gotten one yet, this is probably the one you'd want to get. I'm going to pull the little retainer. What's the chances of that happening? Okay, the pin, if you didn't see that, when I pulled it out, it flipped out of my hand, went straight down the gooseneck hole, or the gooseneck mount there. That was kind of crazy. Anyways, I'm pulling that out. Another piece of innovation is, instead of having a flat metal piece right here, they put this really cool large key ring right here, which keeps it from kind of pinning your finger down, because it would do that, right? It was so under tension, would pull down, and it could actually hurt your finger a little bit. So they made it a little bit easier, a little bit safer, a little bit more convenient right there. Now we're simply going to take the retaining pins off of the ends like that. We'll set them all right here out of the way, and then we'll drop the center one in. First, you want to pull it up, rotate it like that so it stays open. Drop it in the center right here. Open these up. Place. You can loosen the castle nut on top slightly if you need to, but I think we should be okay. Now this one's not rotating on its own very easily, so I'm going to loosen it just a little bit, see if I can get this one to rotate over. There we go. Yeah, that one was tight. The passenger side was pretty easy. Then we're simply going to put the pins back in place right here. That'll keep it from moving. And then we'll lock this. And then we will put this pin back in place. Like that. And now we are good to go. All I need to do is tighten down the assembly. And all these wings are designed to do really is to keep it from rotating. So structurally, yes, it's going to help a little bit in terms of if there was any movement here, which there really shouldn't be. It's going to cradle it, but it's also going to give you your chain tie downs, and it's going to prevent this assembly from rotating side to side. So it just keeps it kind of firmly in place. And all the different variations of this have kind of done the same thing. The strength of your center gooseball connection right here is actually strong enough, according to them, to be able to take that lever effect that'll be on it. But in the case of the Gen Y now, they've given you some really, really thick steel that connects to the center plate, again, to keep it from rotating primarily. And I do like that it gives you that cradling effect in the two furthest back fifth wheel puck connections right here. So again, you have your main gooseneck connection right here, plus your puck connections bolted in place. There's actually a total of 7 bolts. That's it. The 3 right here, and then the 2 on each end right there. And again, this right here really shouldn't be carrying the weight, but it might end up a little bit, I guess. But it's really to prevent this from rotating. That said, very cool product. Definitely a cool evolutionary upgrade and advancement over the Gen 1. I love the fact that we have our chain connections right here as well, something the Gen 1 did not have. The only other thing I could see them adding or offering is a connection maybe to go in to hold your trailer breakaway, your brake breakaway connection on your trailers. But this is really cool. I love it. This is awesome. It's a little bit smaller in overall footprint as well. As you can see, the wings that used to go out on that one were much larger. I love the fact that they don't have to have as many different SKUs too, because basically it's just the different plate right here, then everything else is universal. But it's just a really, really cool product from the folks over at GEN2. Once again, very, very cool evolutionary change. Guys, I'll put a link to this in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in. We're going to get out of the sun. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.